let's start with the creativity piece. Now, what's Lego and creativity? Lego gives an option for people to be an open book. No dimensions, no boxes, no frameworks. So when a human has given the opportunity to think beyond what they can think, it gives a huge impact for their creative aspect. Lego, we say, thinking from hands. Our hands are directly connected to major part to the cortex of our brain. Majority of the parts. So it works as a search engine through our hands. Let me give an example. When I start fiddling a Lego piece, my brain starts building stories, start searching for meaning. So it enables us to be authentic, be genuine, bring the story what is hidden with it.
Our guest today is a facilitator, a leadership coach, speaker, and podcaster. He's a human capital specialist delivering bespoke leadership training, of which Lego Serious Play is a key tool. Welcome, Azeem, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Van. Thank you very much for your invitation.
Look, it's our pleasure. Would you mind sharing a little bit of your background and perhaps some of your work in human-centered innovation?
Cool. So my name is Azeem. I'm a human capital specialist. I've been in the industry for the last 17 years. I've been a ICF PCC-level coach, and I help people to explore their leadership presence in terms of a coaching context. Of course, I love to have fun. I'll play a lot. I play with Legos. That's my key part and one of the forte I work in terms of my clients, as well as emotional intelligence practitioner and emotional culture practitioner as well. So that's a little bit of myself.
Fantastic. So perhaps if you could share with us, what is sort of two parts of this question. So what is Lego Serious Play, and why is it such a powerful tool for creativity and innovation?
So Lego Serious Play is a methodology has been used by now various people around the world. It gives a lot of combination in terms of a science aspect as well as a human aspect. So Lego has been known for toys for kids, many, many years. We never ever thought of, adults playing with it. The terminology Lego seems play well. How the component of play can really impact and a human being is something we talk about. It has been quite successful throughout the history. But, when the video games industry started coming in early 90s, Lego has been a bit of a back end, not the priority for kids. That's where Perkerson and Ramson came into picture, talk about rebuilding Lego. So Lego Serious Play is the birth from this particular crisis for Lego. They start building strategies through the Legos available in the room. So it gives an insight how you see the future with models built by Lego. That enable Lego to look out for further different aspect where they can go. So that came the breakthrough. Lego is not only for kids, it's for everyone. If you see on that, there are a couple of colleagues of mine from US who works with elders, caregivers, as a medicine, right? For children who are without difficult for speech, as a speech therapy. So kids with ADHD, OCD, they look at a different dimension in terms of Lego, not just a toy. That's what the expectation also from Lego. So at the moment in 2000, after 2000, Lego started bringing Lego Series Play as an open source model. Now everybody can buy Lego Series Play model and they can engage the way they want. But there are certain processes has been identified by as for facilitator, so to run this methodology. Not in terms of medicine. Now it's highly impact for education system. We talk about STEM technology, robotics, whatnot. And many universities also have now part and parcel bringing Lego as part of their curriculums for entrepreneurship. So again, it's not mere just a toy. It has evolved like human. We can use whatever the way you want. So that's little bit how Lego Serious Play comes in. You have seen now it has been spreading across whole world. There are a lot of facilitators coming, a lot of training happening in terms of Lego Serious Play. So it's a great methodology, a tool for facilitator like us, how to bring about human potential, which they don't see. How does that sound for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. So can you maybe dive into a little bit around, let's just say if we're particularly around the innovation or entrepreneurship sort of space, how might we go about sort of facilitating or using Lego in that space?
Let's start with the creativity piece. Now, what's Lego and creativity? Lego gives an option for people to be an open book. No dimensions, no boxes, no frameworks. So when a human has given the opportunity to think beyond what they can think, it gives a huge impact for their creative aspect. Lego, we say thinking from hands because it's scientifically proven. You can do this research. Our hands are directly connected to major part to the cortex of our brain. Majority of the parts. So it works as a search engine through our hands. Let me give an example. So what me and you have sat for many exams in a childhood, right? In a difficult exam, a difficult question comes. What sort of behavior you used to showcase? Might be, scratch our heads, might be biting our fingernails, or we get the pencil and you tap it. What we're trying to do, you're trying to search the answer from your subconscious mind. Same thing applies when I start fiddling a Lego piece. My brain start building stories, start searching for meaning. So it enables us to be authentic, be genuine, bring the story what is hidden within us. So let me give you a small metaphorical element. In my exercises, facilitation, I always start with an easy challenge process. I ask this participant to pick 4 2x4 bricks and ask them to build a dog. They do build it. And when they're done, I ask them to go and share the stories with other people. And when we do the reflection piece, they say, you know what, we don't see a dog, but we explain the dog. That's the power of imagination. When imagination is built, that's the line for the creativity. Because people lack imagination at the moment. Because the attention spans for me and you is getting lesser and lesser. So the time for people to have that imagination is not there. So what we try to do with this Lego pieces, we ask them to people to build models which they can see in front of them and start building a story behind that. So we build the storytelling technique again for the creativity piece. So it brings a lot of science into it. Even though we see some plastic piece, it becomes a speech therapy
Sure.
session. People start elaborating with the model, which is just a plastic piece, but give a lot of meaning to it. Why your brain is processing. And this is the only way your, we say left and right brain. Left is more logical, analytical. Right is more kinesthetic, creative. At any given time, me and you can use only one part of it. At the moment, I think you are using your left brain, try to dissect what Azeem saying. But when we use Legos, they have fun building with it. At the same time, they're solving a very complex problem with a fun way. So when both the brains start activating, our neuron generation is much faster than the normal process. That means the synapses is hitting very fast to create that spark for creativity. And that's how creativity component comes in. So there's a process involved. So there are 5-step process, the whole facilitation. I pose a challenge. Participant builds a challenge, whatever the required they want. Then they start reflecting the challenge, go to other people, share the stories. When we come back, we start building a learning out of it with a tool. The last piece is we ask to break the model, what they have built. What do you think about that?
Fantastic. Could you just explain that last step a little bit? When you
Break
say
the
break
model?
the model? Yes.
Why do you think, Juan, we are breaking the model? Any guess?
No, I'm stumped. Talk to me.
Right. When our brain picks up the model, its brain is very quickly get attached to the model. That's where we go for this comfort zone. Now, why change is so difficult for people? Because they are very comfortable. The moment we ask them to break the model, what they have built, they get detached. So they can build a new version, better version. So that's where the innovation keep coming.
Love it. Love it. Fantastic.
That's how the process.
Thanks for the explanation there. And just thinking about some of those things that you said there, I certainly resonate with how you were talking about, sort of thinking through our hands, if that's how you describe it. And I sort of relate that a wee bit to a lot of my work in terms of journaling that I've done and how it's enabled me to sort of get really clear on my thinking and explore sort of situations. But I'm really, it also really resonates around that subconscious piece because, we certainly do a lot of activities, which might be just sort of reflection or sleeping on problems and just not trying to solve things straight away, letting that subconscious, but that connection, I didn't quite sort of realize there with Lego before. So that's a sort of deep insight there, I think, that the audience can sort of take away. So, and I love that phrase of that being an open book. And I'm just wondering with that, have you experienced situations where perhaps people have just found it too open and sort of been unable to sort of, or had difficulty to being able to explore in that sort of total freedom way? And if so, how have you helped them overcome that?
So generally there are instances which it happens like that. For example, there's an exercise I give them. Go and build a minifigure for me. So they have to go to the table and start building the pieces, build a minifigure. So in their mind, just a minifigure to build. Then I pose another challenge for them. All right, Juan, you have built a minifigure. Now explain this minifigure as you, as Juan. Now that's a problem. Because people never realize that there's a challenge going to come like that. Now, people get stuck there. The reason being, they don't know how to explain themselves because they don't know themselves. So that comes the challenge. Then what I say is, look, we are not 100% perfect. Don't look for perfection. Let your hand do the magic for you. Just start fiddling. Reflect on the model and about yourself. That's it. They go to breakthrough. So, yes, there are instances they get stuck, especially when build shared model. For example, we have 6 people in the table. We ask them to bring, let's say, build up a strategy for next 3 months. They start building the strategy. The moment they start presenting, and I invite the other teams to ask questions on the model, not the person. And I'll tell you why the reason is. The moment we say, ask the question of the model, people will see on a third-party version as a third party. But imagine we are sitting on a strategy session. There's no model, only the presentation. Whom the question going to raise to is to be Azeem, right?
Right.
So then it becomes more personal. So I get blocked, insecure feeling. I start defending myself. But here, the open challenge is given to ask the question on the model and not the person who is presenting. So it enables person to look for the model as a third-party view or a hawkeye or a helicopter view.
Yeah.
So that questions, they get stuck sometimes. Why? I don't see that question coming in because I never realize there can be another avenue. So here comes the twist. I asked the participant, if you want to make a change on that model, based on that question, what are things you're going to do? They quickly get into start building it. And that's why Lego Series plays a fantastic model or methodology to build strategies because it has divergent thinking, systemic approach, more visual content, at the same time, more creative, new aspects come to the model because it's based on imagination and creativity. So that's why it has been a number one, go tool for me because it gives the freedom for people to express. But at the same time, when we go for a boardroom or go outside retreat to build strategies, it's very rare we get that. Because we don't get involved. Everybody don't get involved.
Right.
I'll give you a recent example. So I've been facilitating Sri Lanka's oldest and the largest food and beverage company. So it's a supply chain team. Supply chain has different functions, R&D to procurement to etc. etc. The best part was I asked to do a reflection on the previous year's achievements. Each team came out different. But when I asked what are we learning, everybody said, we didn't know R&D had so much of its achievements. We didn't know there was an issue with procurement like this. Because why? They have been working in a silo mentality. This models open them to look and listen to other people's challenges, achievements. Now, why this is important? When we build the landscape model, where all the departments bring their models into one table, we ask them to connect. Because strategy will not work if it's not connected and go towards one direction.
Love that.
Then magic happens also. Sometimes they take over the excess stuff because there are duplication happening. So they start aligning. to one direction, even though with different stakeholder. So to summarize what the whole piece, yes, people get stuck. And as a facilitator, that's what I wanted also. So it enabled people to think, why are we getting stuck? What is not right in the model? What the things I should say? So I give that open invitation, play with it, have fun with it. That's the most important part in building this particular whole Lego series play. As I mentioned, I love to have fun. What you don't believe, some people when come to this session, they become, or they go to their childhood. They start building different stuff. So that gives a lot of observation points for me, how to twist certain things to use for the next session. What are the challenges as me to adjust for the next session? The participant gives me a lot of insight how a play, as plastic pieces, can really influence human beings because it's thinking from man.
I love that. I love that. So, yeah, just picking up on that last piece that you sort of mentioned. So, I suppose they have permission to come into that space and relive some childhood or sort of get straight into that creativity zone. So, I mean, that's quite amazing in itself. I can imagine some of the laughs that you must have around when you're getting some executives together and they're sort of diving back into their childhood, right?
Absolutely.
Just wondering, Azeem, are there any particular challenges or problems where you feel that Lego Series play is best suited for? Or are there areas where it hasn't worked so well?
So far with my experience, I haven't come across such challenges. But I would say, it's the person, not the problem. There might be people who's not willing to spend some time to play with it, who like to do actions, execution, quick wins. Again, it's not the problem, it's not the challenge, it's the person. And why I'm saying it, I have seen a couple of people coming on, okay, so what are we going to do with these toys? Right. At the initial stage, in Sri Lanka, when I start pitching this particular product, everybody said, it's not a choice for us because Sri Lanka is very traditional in terms of learning. We don't want this stuff. But now they have realized and understood that people have fun in workshop and they learn something and they build something to take and apply in the workplace. And that's what's important. Another point is, I never give handouts. In my slide deck, you will not find anything. The whole idea is, learning is yours. Whatever you learn from there, it's for you. It's not for me as a facilitator. Because there can be some collaboration-based workshop for two different companies. Even the content might be same, but the outcome is different.
Right.
Because the people, culture, environment makes a difference for their build. For example, there can be a companies, they provide a lot of psychology safety. So their freedom to express is more. But there can be organization, it's widely micromanaged, very fear to talk about. So their model is going to be very rigid. And the story is going to be very rigid. They're not opening up. So for the second company, I have to put a lot of effort to challenge the models, not the person. So in the moment I challenge, the brains start picking the signals and they start building different aspect to it.
Fantastic.
So that's one of the things I see. It's not the problem. It should be the person.
Right. And just on that second example with sort of more rigid models, etc., or company cultures, can you just perhaps share a little bit how you might help them to sort of have a bit more freedom, or to get more out of the exercise?
So what I do is I always have the conversation with the clients before we start, especially with HR or the respective stakeholder. So I pose a question for them. Tell me, what's your environment look like? What's your culture look like? Some of people are very open. They will tell, okay, this is what it is, but some they don't. Now, I get in trouble on the point number 2, because my expectation, my mindset said, when you go there, this is how it's going to be. But the actual scenario is going to be different. The challenge what we have there is, sometimes we have to tweak our challenge, because it's about challenge. Sometimes I might go very less intense challenge. For example, I asked them to build a model, very individual model, because let me just pause there and give explanation on how they build. So challenge goes as individual, and the team. At the last challenge, as a group. So if I don't break that mindset in the individual level, group and team is going to be screwed up. So what I do, I give very personal challenge at the beginning. For example, 1, take these 3 bigs, build a model which represent your goal, and start explaining to the table. Same model, I ask them, explain your family. They start, because the moment they feel safe within the team, that's the moment they start open up. Now, where does Lego come? Lego is just a metaphor only. Based on the metaphor, they tell the story. And people start listening to it. When you're heard, when you're listened, that's the moment people open up. If I can crack that level, team and group is just a simple drive for there. So I build the challenge accordingly. I understand that mindset there. Sometimes, on the spot, I change the challenge. Because when the first challenge goes a bit difficult, I quickly understand, okay, I need to go very low. So I quickly change it. So that flexibility I have with it, because it's nothing on the deck. It's on the model.
Fantastic. Love it. Love it. Azeem, I'd really appreciate if you're able to perhaps share with us a recent sort of case study of where you've been able to use Lego Serious Play to help a team innovate. So perhaps if you could set the scene around what the challenge was that they were facing, how you used the Lego Serious Play, and perhaps what actually occurred out as far as the outcomes.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, there are 2 examples I want to share. One is a tech company. One is a ice cream, one of the largest ice cream producers in Sri Lanka. So with the tech company, the challenge is a generation issue. That's what HR said. Okay. I asked them, how is their performance? 100% KPI achieved. So what's the issue? Now they're not getting together. Okay. So when we start the session, yes, we understood that people are not gelling in. Now you should ask, what is the innovation piece? I just went through certain mechanism with the model, asked them to open up. When they start building or talking about the model, they start building certain processes, certain procedures, certain behaviors they want to have in the organization, which don't have now. Now, there's a leadership issue also. So when you talk about innovation piece, people were building behavioral landscape with the model, how they want to be felt at work. So they're saying we want to gain more engagement. They want to know people more. They want to have better conversation with leaders. This is one part of it. So technically, it's not about generation issue. It's about how you create that environment. That's an aha moment. Number two, the ice cream industry. These guys are number one. They have competition, but these guys keep pushing. So there are two aspects to it. One is the supply chain department, one the sales department. The best part is they don't speak to each other. They innovate, these guys sell it. So when I went to the innovation team, R&D team, I asked, okay, how do you innovate these days? No, we look at the market. We look at what's new with there. All right, okay. What's new? We have ice cream vegan, right? Fantastic. What's next? We are coming with sugar-free. Okay, what's next? So what I'm doing is, I'm pushing them. They build a model. I said, okay, if you are invited to change the model, what are you going to change? Vegan. Okay, vegan is there. Let's refine more. So what I'm doing is, I'm start pushing them to get out of their comfort zone, use their divergent thinking neurons to get new aspect.
Right.
You don't believe the R&D team came with some fantastic ideas just for recording purpose. They came with a small tablet sort of a method to use in drinks, right? So in a normal water, when you put this particular tablet, which has a flavor and CO2 to give that particular spirit, so you don't worry about your expiry date. So it becomes part and parcel of it. And there you go, you have this soda, right? In terms of ice cream, there's an issue. Shelf life is very less because it's a dairy product. But they came up with a mechanism, with a barcode. When you scan it on the background, you know what's the expiry date. You don't need to go to the store to know. At the moment, it's a physical process. Shelf life is very less. So they have to keep it moving. One more innovation piece they came in. Again, another tablet. You don't need to have water bottles. When you put in the mouth, with the saliva, it gets combined and you get water out of it.
Right.
That was the example. It was mind-blowing. I never expected. By the way, these are the people who has been labeled by the management. They don't innovate. It's not the person. It's the environment for them to freely think how we can innovate.
Love it.
Even the sales team, they have very methodical. Their main game is discount. They want to give discount. So they have a huge budget for discounts. I said, look, you can play this game, but you will not win. Forget about the discount, come up with a new one. It need to be sustainable, cost-effective, and long-term process. So this guy came with various ideas. I don't know, in New Zealand you will have bakers going on their vehicles to sell their breads.
Sure.
But in Sri Lanka, we have tuk-tuk. Have you heard about tuk-tuk?
Yes.
Three-wheelers. So there are people who put the brace and everything and go around. These guys know the routes each and every place. So there was a target coming. So I'll just quickly give an example. So they built a tuk-tuk with the model and they said, look, we'll use these people to sell ice cream because they do on the morning hours. Rest of the hours, they are free. Let's do an agency model with them. We pay the fuel for them. We hire the person. We hire the tuk-tuk to sell ice cream. They should start going the same route how they sell the bread. So they don't need to invent or invest on new vehicles, no fuel cost, no labor cost.
Fantastic.
So how does it emerge? Challenge. We challenge the model, keep challenging the model. So they start thinking outside the box. So these guys have a lot of contracts with a lot of event managers. Wedding planners were never part of it. In a funeral, in Sri Lanka now it's a bit different. You will have ice cream for desserts. I asked the question, do you know anyone who is organizing this stuff? No idea. So we start challenging them. Look out for new avenues. And that's why I really love facilitating strategy sessions with Lego, because I get the freedom to challenge and they get the freedom to explore new avenues. And that's where innovation comes in.
Thanks very much for those, a couple of those great examples. And, you know, I'm some of the things that I'm picking up through this is, you know, creating that environment around aha moments through breaking down silos and sort of building that culture. And you're sort of doing that through allowing people to separate themselves from the model, right? So they're talking about the model rather than talking about themselves to some degree, right? So it's less personal. It's more about the idea as opposed to the person, right?
Absolutely.
Love it. Just sort of would be keen to sort of explore, you know, this is a very, you know, tactile and very human-centered approach to creativity. How are you in any way, or sort of two parts to the question, sort of how do you sort of see AI assisting you in your workshops, and if you have, how have you been incorporating that to date?
Absolutely. I'm using a lot very lately because for these workshops, challenges are the most important part. Because how I pose the challenge will define the outcome. So I don't define the outcome. I ask AI, if I challenge like this, what sort of outcome will come in? I give the context of the industry because it reads the whole piece of experience piece. What sort of experience people come through it? So when I pose the challenge, AI gives me what sort of outcome can be expected. So it gives me a direction, which way to go in. Because again, it's just a direction. So I keep a space between. Because humans, right? We can't define what each person is going to come up with it. But I use AI to refine my challenges. So I challenge the AI. If I post like this, what do you think? It gives me a response. I keep challenging it. Because same thing happens on the workshop also. I keep challenging the process. That's how I use AI.
Fantastic. Azeem, perhaps as we sort of finish up our conversation today, if there's perhaps one or two tips or that you could provide somebody who's looking to get into using Lego Serious Play, like what are some mistakes to avoid? How should they go about doing that?
I think number one, you should source the right Lego sets. That's pretty important. You can use normal Legos, but when you go to Lego site, you will find Lego Serious Play methodology. So it's a quite different than the normal Legos you'll find in the stores. You can use those, but especially when you're facilitating strategic approaches, innovation piece, you have certain different items included in the Lego. Okay. Number two, there are a lot of open source books available. It's better to read it. Highly recommended, because there's a process involved how you go through the process. Because when you just miss that particular process, you will not get that particular outcome or the expected results out there, right? Now, I'm not saying I'm a perfect person. At the initial stage, we did a lot of mistakes. I used to bring a lot of people into the room. Now I'm very careful with it, because Lego involves a lot of talking, not by the facilitator, by the participant. I just speak about 20% of the time. 80% is spoken by the participant. So when the crowd is huge, it's very difficult to navigate. And you need more stuff also to play around. So, when you minimize it, 30 people, 25 people is a good number to play around, because you will have 4 to 5 groups. So you can give focus attention to the respective people. Because one of the important thing I want to highlight is Lego workshop, we very rarely sit down on a chair, because it's all about moving around, standing. A lot of talking to be there. So when the crowd is less, a lot of interaction, engagement, and collaboration happens. So be mindful with that also. Again, Lego sets are important. Read the open source models, because the process is so important. And how many number of people you get in the room, because it all depends. Because if you don't see people engaging, that's a problem as a facilitator. Does it make sense?
Yep, absolutely. Thank you very much, Azeem. Look, this has been an absolutely fascinating conversation, and look, I wish I could sort of dive in a bit longer with you, and perhaps we'll leave that for a follow-up session. So to perhaps share, if you wouldn't mind just sharing with the audience how people can best reach you if they're interested to learn more or just connect in with you. Where's the best place to find you?
LinkedIn is the best place, and that's where we find out. Of course, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. That's a different platform. LinkedIn would be the ideal place is to connect. Of course, you can, I don't know whether you can put my email address or whatever. You can just reach out there. And, we did a podcast. There are a lot of episodes with the playfulness and the creativity part. You can listen to that as well.
Azeem, my friend, thank you very much for taking the time. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Pleasure is mine, sir. Thank you very much. Part of your, assignment and inviting me is a big honor for me. I believe let's contribute to the worthy cause overall.
Fantastic. Thank you, Azeem.